In the last episode, we made the first part of a CRUD interface. We did the read, update, and delete actions. The create action is a little bit trickier, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to first do the naive version. We're going to show what goes wrong when that happens, and then we're going to show a better version. So let's go to our posts template and put in a button that will trigger the new action. So far, so good. Then, in our posts route, we'll have an action which creates a post and then takes us to the edit page for that post. This is where things start to go wrong. Let's hit that new button and see what happens. So now we're at the route posts/null/edit. So we don't have an ID of the post. That's because we haven't saved it to the server yet. It also adds it to our list, an empty thing to our list. So let's pretend that we're okay with that. We'll make a title and create it. And this looks like it's working, but what if we reload? We see that it's null. So it doesn't work because there's nothing with the null ID. So this is a workflow that will sometimes work, sometimes not. So let's create a better create workflow. In this new way, we'll replace the action with a link to a posts route. So we can delete the action. And then we'll take advantage of our posts new route. Let's start with our template. We'll take the things from post edit and just paste them in while changing a few things. We replaced model with new post, which is a temporary object that we're going to create in the controller. It's a temporary object, just a hash of values that we will eventually, when we hit save, use to create a record. So once we hit save, we'll create the record using this temporary object, and then we'll save it, and then we'll transition to show. We can see this working in our app. We hit new, we create a new title, and notice it's post new instead of post null. And we hit save, and we can reload the page just fine. It's a much better workflow. And when we hit new here, it's not adding anything to the end of the list. So that's a great workflow, but we did copy and paste from a template. So let's clean that up a little bit. Here are the new and the edit templates side by side. We can dry this up a little bit by copying this and then pasting it into a new component that we'll call edit fields. We'll put it under post, just call it edit fields, and then we'll just create the template. We won't need the JavaScript portion of the component. In here, we can call our template post/edit fields, and then we will feed it the model. We can do the same thing here, post/edit fields, and we'll feed the model as new post. This works really well right now because of two-way data binding. So if we change something in the model in edit fields, it'll automatically propagate back up here. So we can take action on it in the new or the edit routes. Later, when we have one-way data binding, by default, we'll need to do a mutation. We'll need to specify a mutation. So let's go ahead and look at this at work. We'll reload. It looks just the same as before. It works just the same as before. And the editing works as well. And it works exactly as before, but now there is significantly less repetition. In this episode, we learned how to create a record. Creating is one of the more complicated of the 4 CRUD operations. The 4 CRUD operations which are essential to software where you are manipulating data. I hope this helps you when you're creating your own application. You might have to expand on this if you have special requirements, but if you don't, there's good news. You won't have to repeat all this work, because next week we are learning about blueprints. Specifically, we're going to be making a set of blueprints that can auto-generate a lot of this CRUD for you. I'll see you then.